In order to be compliant with COPPA, I'm informing you that this video has been created with general audiences in mind and is in no way targeted specifically towards children. By proceeding, you are agreeing that you are within YouTube's terms of service and older than the FTC's definition of a child, which means you are 13 years of age or older, and that my intention is now abundantly clear up front that kids are not my intended audience. Thank you for your patience through this short disclaimer, and I hope you enjoy the video. How's it going, YouTube lovers? This is the Eagle Builder and welcome back to another Bird Brain Theory, where today we are talking about Godzilla vs. Kong. The trailer for this movie has finally arrived. We've been waiting I think this movie's been done for like 2 years now, but it's gone delayed over and over, and then of course the pandemic happened, which delayed it even more. We are finally going to be able to see this movie. I'm really excited. The trailer looks beautiful. The VFX look amazing. Looks like it's going to be a ton of fun, epic monster action. That's what I want to see in these movies. It's just monsters beating the crap out of each other. So I'm really excited to see this movie. And the thing is, we still haven't gotten a lot of official information about what this movie is actually going to be about, like what the plot of it is. We know basic premise is big monkey punch big lizard, but we don't know that much about the plot. But there were a bunch of clues stashed in this first trailer, and I want to think about what the plot is going to be. But before we do that, let's actually take a look at the trailer itself and do a bit of a mini breakdown to say what's in it. So as is appropriate with a giant monster movie trailer, we start with a scene of destruction. But even though we're only a few seconds into this trailer, there's already something hidden here. If you look very closely at the background of this shot of people running away, you see a giant silver shape with glowing red highlights, and it appears some spines along their back. This is our first official look at Mechagodzilla for the Monsterverse. We already knew this robot it's kind of piloted most of the time in the original movies, but we know that this robot, let's call it that, it would be in the movie thanks to toy leaks, especially one that was actually recent from Funko that showed Mechagodzilla. It is very clearly this robot based on the leaks where it shows the silver with the red. You got the spines there just like Godzilla. This is 100% Mechagodzilla. I'm going to talk more about him later in the video, but just know, there he is. Then we can see Monarch moving Kong from Skull Island to, according to the synopsis, his original home. Now, I'm pretty sure that his original home is Hollow Earth, and there's more evidence about that later in the trailer. But on their way there, Godzilla attacks.
It's Godzilla.
Now, it turns out that in this movie, for some reason, Godzilla has been attacking people, and this is the main plot-driven part of the movie. But after a quick skirmish, Godzilla swims away, and later we see Kong in Hollow Earth. Like, it almost looks like there's, like, land above him. I'm really excited to see what Hollow Earth looks like. They've talked about this since Skull Island, and we are finally going to get the chance to actually see it. Now, of course, this appears to be where Kong gets his weapon that we've been really excited to see in the movie, which is an axe made out of a Godzilla dorsal spine. But we also see a shot that looks like Kong is standing over the glowing corpse of another of Godzilla's species. So this pretty much seems to confirm that the dorsal spine that Kong uses to make his axe is not from our Godzilla. He doesn't rip it off of the Godzilla that we know and love. He finds it off of the corpse of a previous Godzilla, and he ties it onto what looks like a bone of maybe another Titan. That'd be actually really cool. Some have theorized that because of the red glow we see on it, that maybe it's the bone of a Muto. That would be kind of a cool way to tie it in. So you combine the dorsal spine that could absorb atomic energy with the Muto bone after the Muto was able to drain energy from Godzilla. So it's really a powerful weapon for Kong. Basically, he's now Thor, which makes sense. I mean, he did kind of have lightning powers in the original. But then before the trailer ends, we get our big money shot of Kong absorbing the atomic breath, like I was talking about with his axe, and then he brings it down on Godzilla's head. And this is, I believe that this is in Hong Kong where this fight is taking place, and it looks gorgeous. Finally, a nighttime fight that doesn't look like a muddy mess. I am really looking forward to this movie. It's going to be the best Monsterverse movie yet. Based on this trailer, it looks like it's going to be the best Monsterverse movie yet. Now, of course, after 2 movies of seeing Godzilla as a protagonist of sorts, it's a little weird to see him as presented as the antagonist for this series. But I'm pretty sure that there is more going on that meets the eye. In fact, I believe that there are 2 possible explanations to explain away why Godzilla is acting like this. One is that it's a big misunderstanding about what Godzilla is doing. I'll talk about that in a bit, but first, I would like to talk about the possibility that we have a robot in disguise. This first possibility is based off of a classic Godzilla storyline. In fact, in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the first movie that introduces Mechagodzilla, we start with seeing Godzilla on a rampage, and the humans don't know what's going on. But it is revealed later in the movie that this is in fact Mechagodzilla disguised as Godzilla. He's got like a suit designed to look like Godzilla's skin on the outside of his metal body. Now, this could totally be what's happening here. The evil Godzilla, who's acting out of character, could be Mechagodzilla pretending to be the big G. And this honestly gives us a way that, again, the movie's been teasing since the first teaser image that one will fall. Mechagodzilla here makes it so that the one who falls doesn't have to be Godzilla and doesn't have to be Kong. Which I'm okay with, because I really like both of the monsters, so I don't want to see either of them fall. And the 2 of them could still end up fighting each other at some point, but then they can team up to take on Mechagodzilla, who has been framing Godzilla most of the time. Now, this does make sense in some ways. Like I said, explain Godzilla's behavior, it allows for one for fall, it has connections to the original Godzilla movies, but I don't think that this is actually what is indeed happening in this movie. You see, it would be really cheap if this was Mechagodzilla, because it means that the title Godzilla vs. Kong is misleading. It's actually Mechagodzilla vs. Kong, which, while cool enough, is not what we've been teased for years and years. Also, the modern version of Mechagodzilla's disguise doesn't really seem like it's reasonable that he could disguise that much as Godzilla himself. If you look at the toy, he's got these big, massive claw hands, and his spines are nowhere close to the same shape as Godzilla's. I mean, even in the original movie, it was unbelievable that he was disguised as Godzilla, but considering that this one's trying to be more grounded, I don't think it's a disguise. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, I think the more likely scenario is the other one I mentioned, which is that there is a big misunderstanding between Godzilla and humans. Now, this misunderstanding would still have to do with Mechagodzilla. He is still going to be basically our main antagonist of the movie. Specifically, I think that this has to do with the ones who built Mechagodzilla. Now, when Godzilla vs. Kong was filming, it had the working title Apex. Now, working title is not uncommon with movies, but they quite often have to do with what the movie is about. Now, in the trailer, we get this shot. Now, this is, without a doubt, the most clue-filled shot in the trailer. It shows someone, probably Madison, I mean, that would make the most sense, collecting information about Godzilla's attacks. And we can see all over this board, it mentions Apex facilities specifically being attacked. Apex appears on this board so many times. Now, according to IMDb, Apex is a cybernetics group. Now, while IMDb can be edited by anyone, I mean, my mom edits IMDb stuff all the time, and she definitely doesn't know inside information about movies. I'm pretty sure this is actually the case, though. And Apex is, in fact, the group that is building Mechagodzilla. I mean, consider the fact that in the Monsterverse, especially in King of the Monsters, Godzilla is the one who is bringing balance and coexistence between Titans and humans. So it would make sense that he would be attacking these sites where humans are building some kind of mechanized Titan that could disrupt that balance between the 2 dominant species on the planet. And I also don't think that Monarch actually knows what Apex is up to. Now, while the credits of King of the Monsters did actually tease that Monarch was developing a mechanized giant on Skull Island, Monarch as an organization doesn't seem to have interest in messing with the established hierarchy. I mean, the only reason... they're trying to protect people, of course, when monsters were going crazy, but that was because Ghidorah was there with the aid of evil humans, and Ghidorah wasn't even supposed to be on the planet in the first place. Now, even if Monarch is aware of what Apex is building, because it seems like Monarch has something to do with a mechanized giant, I don't think they actually know what Apex's true motives are. Now, considering the very first shot of the trailer shows Mechagodzilla amongst city destruction like that, I think it's safe to assume Apex doesn't want world peace. I mean, Mechagodzilla in later years was considered a force for good, but I don't think that's going to be the case in this movie. Now, this actually adds an interesting element for the human side of the plot for the story. Yes, I know I just said that it adds something interesting for the human plot, and that seems like an oxymoron in this franchise. I know, but just hear me out here. In this shot right here, we can see actor Shun Oguri, who is credited as playing Ren Serizawa. The name Serizawa is very familiar in the Monsterverse, with Ishiro Serizawa being one of the few characters who was in Godzilla 2014 and appeared in King of the Monsters. And again, I was okay with that because he was one of the few characters that you actually thought were interesting. Him and Bryan Cranston's character, who, well, we all know what happened with that one. Now, of course, in King of the Monsters, Dr. Serizawa sacrificed himself to bring Godzilla back in order to face Ghidorah, but this character, Ren, is assumed to be Dr. Serizawa's son. Now, Dr. Serizawa never really mentioned a son before in the movies. And if he did, I don't remember it. It went by way too fast. Or maybe it was in Godzilla 2014. I don't remember most of the dialogue from that one, besides let them fight. But this shot shows Ren standing in front of a screen that talks about Mechagodzilla. I'm pretty sure there's Mechagodzilla in that screen. It looks like a robotic titan. And maybe this would explain why Ishiro never mentioned his son. I mean, Dr. Serizawa has so much respect for Godzilla and what he represents. If his son was doing something that would threaten that balance, it would make sense that he would not be talking to him. At least, that's what I think. So, now that we've lost Dr. Serizawa, we have his son here who's still causing some chaos, and we can continue that thread of the story even without Serizawa actually being here. Anyway, just like the previous possibility that I mentioned for this movie, the robot in disguise, the misunderstanding allows for one to fall without it actually killing off Godzilla or Kong. Now, this also allows for the title of the movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, to be fully fulfilled and not have a cheap twist where Kong is battling Mechagodzilla most of the time, like the previous possibility would have. Now, the director, Adam Wingard, has said many times there is going to be a winner in this movie. It's not going to be ambiguous like the original King Kong vs. Godzilla. But just having the third, more antagonistic monster in Mechagodzilla means that we could still have a winner of Godzilla vs. Kong, but neither of them actually has to be the real bad guy. We could still have a proper antagonist, and our two protagonists can team up to fight him, which would be really cool, but maybe it can be victor and loser teaming up to take on this greater threat, because, again, Kong has a connection to humans, Godzilla represents the balance between titans and humans. Those two are the perfect monsters to fight against the biggest step that evil humans have taken to try to throw off that balance. Before I go, here's a quick recap of what I talked about in today's theory. First, we did a little mini breakdown of the trailer. This movie looks absolutely gorgeous with all the VFX, and it teases an awesome epic monster showdown that'll travel to Hollow Earth and has a wonderful mystery to unravel, and you know I'm a sucker for mysteries. And then we looked at the fact that one possible answer to that mystery is that we're dealing with a classic Godzilla plotline, and Mechagodzilla is disguised as Godzilla wrecking havoc. But I don't think that's what's going on. I believe the most likely answer to this mystery is that Godzilla is trying to stop Apex Cybernetics from creating Mechagodzilla. Humanity, including Monarch, misunderstands Godzilla's actions, and Ren Serizawa is part of it, which adds some actual believable human drama to it. So Yes, finally, please have believable human drama. You're better in Skull Island. You're okay in King of the Monsters. Let's make this the best Monsterverse movie yet. We won't have to wait long to see this. I mean, this movie comes out March 31st. We are so close. I really hope there's going to be a theater open near me because I want to see this on the biggest screen possible. I am going to go out if there's a theater near me. I am not missing the chance to see this on the big screen, even though I have HBO Max. I am not missing this at all. No chance. So anyway, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below. Are you Team Godzilla or are you Team Kong? I personally am Team Kong, but I want to know what your preference is. I would put a poll in the top corner, but YouTube removed that feature for some stupid reason, so I can't do it. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Please drop a like and leave a comment down below if you did. And subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye, guys!
I keep reaching for greatness because I'm built from it.
Who bows to who?
Nobody gonna stop me. Here we go.
Kong bows to no one.
Here we go.